Welcome back. I'm Stephanie Rule. 12 audio tapes seized from Michael Cohen's office and hotel room are now in the hands of federal prosecutors. Ooh, lawyers from Michael Cohen, President Trump, and the Trump Organization withdrew their designations of privilege, which led to the release of the 12 tapes. On at least one of those tapes, secretly recorded shortly before the 2016 election, Donald Trump's voice is heard talking to Cohen about payment to former Playboy model Karen McDougal. Elise Jordan, Mark Thompson, and Midwin Charles back with me. Midwin, I have to start with you. The special master considered these recordings privileged. Why would both parties withdraw attorney-client privilege? Why would they want this out?
Well, I think there are a couple of things going on here. I think with Michael Cohen, we've had Trump and his attorneys go back and forth as to whether or not Michael Cohen was acting as his attorney or acting as his business advisor. And so what happened there is they didn't want to challenge it, because the last thing you want is to have a judge making a finding as to whether or not these were conversations that took place during the course of dispensing legal advice or not as a business person. And also, I think one of the most important things here, which I've said before on your show, is that attorney-client privilege does not take into effect or does not apply if those communications deal with a crime underfoot or the furtherance of a crime. So I think the last thing that the Trump team wanted is for a judge to make a finding as to whether or not these communications had anything to do with a crime or the furtherance of a crime. So they wanted to stay away from this and just say, you know what, let's not even deal with it. Fine, we withdraw the privilege.
Mark, I don't understand the dance that's publicly going on between Cohen, his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. According to Vanity Fair, people close to Cohen believe he's got information that would be very useful to Mueller. What do you think is going on here?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to acknowledge we still are not dealing, as we said earlier, we're not dealing with very intelligent people, after all. Secondly, there's no honor amongst thieves. It is incredible to me that someone would record their own client.
That's right.
Unless they
More
knew.
than a client. I mean, he put President Trump before all else in his life.
Yeah, he idolized him, so that lets you know what he really thought of him, and he felt a need to cover himself. I think this is going to be very, very damaging. Even though Midwin has given a good explanation as to why they would release privilege or not argue privilege any longer, I think this could end up being very, very, very damaging to Trump. We know now there are 12 tapes. We don't have any reason to think that Trump is only on one of those tapes. He's probably on more than one. It's just as crazy as Giuliani coming out on Hannity when he did, what, about a month ago, and admitting that he paid her off after all denials that he hadn't. Right. So it's all very bizarre. None of them are very bright. You know, Maxine Waters said it best. He is his own undoing.
He really is.
And that's exactly what we have here. Trump is his own undoing.
We could say they're not very bright, and we could say all day long it's his own undoing, but he woke up in the White House this morning, and none of us did. And Michael Cohen is not in jail yet. Elise, what do you think, for Michael Cohen's inner circle to leak out there to Vanity Fair that, well, Michael Cohen could cooperate with Robert Mueller, what's their goal? For Trump to pardon him?
Well, and Axios also reported that Michael Cohen has been speaking to friends and associates, questioning Donald Trump's mental state. And then you look at what Michael Cohen has done publicly. He tweeted on Monday, you know, what he said to George Stephanopoulos holds, that he is going to, you know, try to do the right thing. So he seems to be putting himself up in contrast to Donald Trump and saying that he is his own man now, and that's certainly someone that he wasn't even a year ago after having been Donald Trump's man for so many years.
It's never too late to do the right thing. If he is turning over a new leaf, we welcome that. Mark, before we go, I want to ask you about the runoff in Georgia's 6th congressional district, because this is an important one.
It is. Lucy McBath is in that runoff today. She forced a runoff after the primary.
I don't think people remember who she is.
She is the mother of Jordan Davis, who was the teen slain down in Florida for playing music that was too loud. We wish her well. We hope everybody in the 6th gets out and votes. She's dedicated, since her son's death, a lot of her activism to ending gun violence. And so not only do we have this wave of women running and winning, this is also a woman who has been fighting against gun violence and who represents one of our current mothers of the movement who lost a young man, who lost a son to an armed vigilante. So we wish her very, very well. And it would mean a lot, I think, to her and to the memory of her son for her to win.
Well, gives you chills. I mean, that's a
Yeah, it
mother who
does.
lost her son, and she's taken action.
That's right.
She's running for office. Thank you all so much. Great conversation. Well, you know how we